Messy and Masterful. In this podcast, we speak about the success of people who have achieved, built, or done something amazing, special, remarkable, noteworthy, and/or fabulous. Think of presidents, doctors, chefs, architects, filmmakers, writers, philosophers, CEOs, journalists, and the list goes on of people who've had a genuine impact on this world. But rather than underlining their career victories, we speak about the challenges they needed to overcome to actually get there. In each episode, we discuss 3 of such challenges, obstacles, difficulties, and/or hurdles with our guest, putting the messy of their lives next to the masterful. A very warm welcome to you. My name is Aldo de Pape, and I'm so happy you could make it. So sit back, relax, and download the podcast here. Hello, dear listener. A very warm welcome to you. I'm so happy you could make it for our 90th episode. Yes, you heard that correctly. 90, well on our way to the 100 episodes. And it's a very special interview this time. And I might say even a very creative one, because I had the great privilege of sitting down with Florent Chavouet, who is a famous French cartoonist. And if you know anything about France, then you are aware that the French people are very much in love with comic books. It is not only a thing for children, comic books in France. It is something for all ages. And Florent has had great success creating comic books, specifically speaking about travel and traveling, and then even more specifically traveling to Japan. That's where his career started, but it spun out already into so many more creative projects that Florent participates in all over the world. I really recommend you check out Florent's website that we mentioned in the show notes, and also his books. The first one, which was a huge success right off the bat, is called Tokyo on Foot, but he has made so many more about great things in this world. Sincerely hope you enjoy episode number 90, Florent Chavouet, the cartoonist. So I am very happy that we are at another episode of Messy and Masterful. And this one is at my house. And the person that I'm interviewing is a guest at my house and has been over the past few days. He is a visual artist and has had a very interesting career thus far. So a very warm welcome to you, Florent Chavouet.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Aldo.
So really great. I'm very happy you're here in Scotland. Full disclosure, Florent is my wife's cousin. And when I met my wife, she said, "You should know one thing, I have a famous cousin," she told me. No, she didn't say that. Not famous.
Not so much famous.
Not so much famous, but she was very proud of you. Yeah, and with reason, Florent, because you are a very gifted artist. You're an author. So the book that kickstarted this all is a book called Tokyo Sample.
Yes. Tokyo on Foot in
Tokyo
English.
on Foot in English. Now, let's start there, because that book changed your life.
For sure.
When was it published?
In 2009, but it's about a trip in 2006.
It's about a trip in 2006. But it was published in 2009.
Publishing in 2009.
So take us back to you in 2006. Who were you, and why did you decide to write the book?
Who I was in 2006. I was not a professional sketch artist. I just finished my study, and I finished them in 2004. And between 2004 and 2006, I made a lot of little job in Paris. During this time, I met a girl who became my girlfriend at that time. And we decided together to go to Japan, especially in Tokyo, because she found internship So she needs to go to make an international internship. And she chose Japan because we share together interest for this country. So we went together to Tokyo in 2006 during 6 months. It was the duration of the internship. And during she works, I have nothing to do.
Yeah.
No little job in Tokyo. I try to find something, but it doesn't work because I don't speak Japanese. I went to some French restaurant, French creperie, something like that, but it doesn't work. And thanks to this, because I don't spend my time in little job like it was in Paris. And so when I was in Paris, I made half-time little job and some project about comics and art. But it doesn't work because when I finish my work, I don't want to draw or something.
Yeah.
So
Tired.
in Tokyo, nothing like that because I don't have little job. I live thanks to my girlfriend and some money I saved before. And so I was free to sketch what I want, my daily life in Tokyo. I didn't want to create a story, something like fictional about Japan. I really want to go outside, watch everything. That's why also I go not by subway but by bicycle. And maybe I took less than 5 times subway in Tokyo at this time during 6 months. Every time I go with I ride my bicycle to go where I want, and it's a perfect way to discover the big city like that, like Tokyo, and you can stop everywhere you want. In my case, to sketch something I just saw. Funny house, I don't know, a funny building, restaurant, small little story with people. And that's how my books begin to build. But at that time, I didn't know I want to make a book. When I go back to present to some publisher and say, hello, I'm Florent, let's take a look at my art. Do you have a story for me, scenario, something like that I could illustrate? That was my biggest expectation. But I make a lot of pictures, drawing, maybe around 2 pages by day. And when we go back to France, I had about 200 drawing.
Yeah.
Of course, not all big drawing with many details, but some are like that.
Yeah.
Many kind of drawing. And I start to meet some publisher. It's quite difficult to meet publisher. I don't know in the other country, but in France, I went to book fair, something like that, to meet some professional people. So it was difficult, but at the end, I meet the good one.
Yeah.
Philippe Piquet, which is a publisher specialized in Asian literature. Not necessarily illustrated books. There is some in this publisher, but not so much. It's more like a roman or a small book, something like that. We were agreed together to make a book, and the end of story of this first book, because after we published, 1 year later, I think.
Yeah.
I just add some map that I didn't draw when I was in Tokyo.
Yeah.
I had this when I was in France, and that's all. After it's all my drawing during my trip in Tokyo.
And then the reception of the book, because you sound very modest, but this book was a huge success.
So Yes, now we can say that.
Yeah.
Maybe. But it starts well, but slowly,
Yeah.
but well, more and more, month after month.
Yeah.
My publisher sent me some newspaper articles, something like that. I was invited in many salons, book fair in France. There is many,
Yeah.
not only in Paris, but
Yeah.
everywhere. Sometimes something like manga events, something like that.
Yeah.
Also travel book, something like that, or a library, of course. So because I was young also, I was agreed to go everywhere. To take the train for 12 hours to go to sign in a library in the south of France or in the north or the east west. And maybe it's participate to make my book more popular, I think.
Yeah.
And yes, after maybe 1 year, sorry, of publishing this book, we can say it was a good selling book. I don't remember the sale number at this time, but now in France, because the book is published, so it's published in 2009. Now, maybe we sold around 60 or 65 books on these books. It's my bestseller. After it's decreased.
65,000, right?
Thousand. Yeah, sorry.
So
Yeah,
55.
Sorry.
So your mom and some friends.
Neighborhood.
So 65,000 books, and it's been translated in multiple languages.
Yeah.
Even so much that I had my boss in London at the time, in 2011, come up to me, seeing if I would. He knew that I knew you, and he was a big fan of Tokyo. So for Tokyo and Japan aficionados, this book has made quite an impression, right? That's safe to say.
Yeah. I have the chance that this book was published I think in the good time.
Yeah.
When the interest for Japan increased very much at that time in France. I mean, maybe in Europe, I don't know for the other country, but in France, it was before. Also, French people young people had interest for Japan, but around 2010, maybe a little before, it increased a lot. For manga, for many things, pop culture of Japan.
Yeah, I do think your country has a very specific relationship with comics, right? With bande dessinée, as you call it. Like, it's a very mature sub-department of each bookshop. It's like, more than anywhere else. And like, people of all ages are reading them. It's not just for the kids, right? There's people are very fascinated by it, which I think makes it a very good market, right? For books like yours. Plus then I think what your book stands out in is that it's so exceptionally detailed. Like, there's, the drawings you make, these are not just like very quick sketches. You dive into detail of the things that you see. So you are, whether you're a friend or foe of your book, I think everyone is kind of persuaded by the details that you put in there. Very high level of details, extremely nicely done. I'm a fan, of course, I'm not objective, but I think anyone who would see this book, whether you like your style, yes or no one could argue that it is not detailed. And I think the detail is the strength.
I make the joke.
Yeah. So, it was a little bit intentional. At some point, it became intentional when you were in Japan. Like, okay, let me develop a portfolio and then take that to a publisher. So somewhere you said, like, okay, let's make it a book, right? Did you have a clear storyline in mind? Was it then, or how did you go about setting the story? Because the story is about you, effectively. Yeah. It's an autobiography of I'm Florent, and I don't know what I'm doing here in Tokyo, right? It's
we can say there is no story.
There is no story. Yeah,
it's just my daily life, and I don't so much explain why I'm here. A little in the preface, we say in English, preface.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the
Yeah.
introduction of my book, I explain a little why
Yeah.
I come in Tokyo, how long, and with who. But that's all. After, I just sketch my daily life. Sometimes I explain, I meet some things, some people who say me that it's funny or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's all. The main story is geography, I think, because we organize, when I meet this publisher the first time, and the first time he say me, let's make a book with those drawings. He reorganize, he tell me that it could be a good idea to reorganize, change the chronology of my sketch.
Yeah.
To organize by quarter, by location in Tokyo.
Yeah.
And that's why the summary of my book is a big map of Tokyo.
Yeah.
And if you want to know what drawing I made in Shibuya, you can go to the page 178, I don't know.
Yeah.
Something like that.
You made an index. Yeah.
That's the real story of this book.
Yeah.
And you can start at the middle, go back, go forward, and there is no really chronology of the story.
So out of Tokyo Sample, I think it's fair to say you were kind of launched as a bit of a name, like, as people were like, wow, he's one to watch, right? Mm-hmm. So it sets expectations, and out of that comes loads more work, loads more creative projects. Now, I don't know exactly the chronology, but I'm just going to brag on your behalf that you not only start making more books, but are also asked by people of the likes of McDonald's to create a campaign for their next meal that they introduce, up to Galeries Lafayette, which is the most famous department store in France that has like a Christmas, campaign, doing all their window shops. You are asked by the French mail system, the French Post, to do stamps even. Yeah. So all those things come your way. How did that make you feel? Was it too much at some point, or how did this go about?
No, because what you say is during all my career. Yeah. So I had time to think about it.
Yeah.
And all project you mentioned, I'm very proud of it. It's good project. I have chance to choose my project when some people contact me for this kind of project with me. I don't know, books or whatever. Actually, I can refuse if it's not very interesting.
Yeah.
And I can accept if it's what I want. Yeah. And for those projects, of course, I accept immediately. And not only because I have to be honest, not only because it's very interesting project, but also because sometimes it's well paid.
Yeah,
it's important for a drawer. It's important sometimes to win his autonomy at the beginning of career.
Yeah.
For example, McDonald's contact me. It's not McDonald's who contact me, but advertising producer, the producer of the advertising for McDonald's, contact me just between my first book and my second book.
Okay.
Yeah. My second book was finished at that time, but not even published. And so for me it was yes, let's work together, because also TV advertising is there's big money.
Yeah.
So compared to comics economy, for example, of course. So it was good for me, and that's why I accept. But advertising was funny to make. It was like small cartoon, animate cartoon. Of course, I was not the only one to work with. There is an animator, people who make animation, who help me. So it was.
Is it fair to say that because of Tokyo Sampo, you kind of all of a sudden, and I appreciate it was over multiple years, so it wasn't all at once at the same time, but that you kind of had all these dream jobs that you previously could only,
Yeah.
couldn't even imagine, right?
Yeah.
That you all of a sudden
But
have the
when I was
advertising producer of McDonald's or people of Galerie Lafayette, because when I saw that, it's jaw dropping how much it is your work in the window shop of such an exclusive shop in France, right? In Paris and whatever, or countrywide it was even, right? So it's very like, it's extremely noticeable, and but that's quite an acceleration in a way. An acceleration in a sense, like, it's kind of from one thing on multiple levels, which is an amazing story in and of itself. Yeah.
You know, when I was a kid, my ideal job was to earn money by drawing.
Yeah.
That's all. I don't know the name of this job.
Yeah.
If it's a comics drawer, okay, I'm okay.
Yeah.
If it's advertising maker, drawer, it's okay for me. Newspaper drawer, it's okay. Just want to be paid to draw.
Well, that was going to be my next question. Which one do you prefer? Because you're quite a detailed person, and I think you're naturally drawn to books as well. So very often there's a book project. There's always a book project, is there not?
Yeah. The thing I prefer is, of course, to make books. And in this way, I like two kind of books. I like to switch between two kind of books. Sometimes I make, like I made for my first and my second book, something like travel book, I go somewhere, Japan, of course, so many times, and I just sketch and draw what I see, what I live. I like this way, this kind of books, and to make this kind of books, and also to switch some alternative, switch with another way of books, which is fictional books, to create a story from my mind.
Yeah.
But I didn't make a lot of books like that. Only one, really fictional. Another one is mixed between these two kind of books. My books about the Louvre Museum, for example, it's mixed with kind of travel books because I sketch what I saw. For example, I put the Louvre Museum surrounded by water. I don't explain why. It's like if
just the way it is.
Yeah.
And the Louvre book was commissioned.
It's a publisher. It's a collection of publisher. It's two publishers. It's quite complicated. Comics publisher, which is very famous in France, called Futuropolis. Old publisher of comics, very popular for the comics fan, and mixed with Louvre edition.
Yeah.
There is a publisher with a museum, Louvre Museum.
Yeah.
And they start a collection of comics about Louvre. I don't know when, maybe around 2010, something like that. And they contact me in 2014, I think, or 15. 15, yeah. And they asked me if I was interested to make books for them, for the collection. Because every year they contact an artist to make a new comics about the Louvre. The only law for this book is to talk about the Louvre, but it can be the Louvre in the past, the Louvre, the museum in the future, only one room of the Louvre, or one piece of the Louvre, or something like that.
So you have complete freedom as long as it's about the museum.
Also in the size of the book, you can choose the black and white or color. They are totally free. And they ask me, and I say yes, of course. Because also there is a lot of famous artists who make books for this collection, like Enki Bilal, famous comics artist, or some Japanese people, also Japanese mangaka.
So they're not even French. They're
No, no,
all over the
no.
world.
Most of them are French, but many Japanese people, some Taiwanese people, I think.
Yeah.
One, maybe Spanish, American people. I'm not sure. American comics artists. Now, I don't know how many books in this collection there are. Maybe around more than 20, I think.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think. No. Between
It's-
15 and 20.
It's wonderful. I'm going to check out the collection, but I'm also right. If I see the work that you created, it is again jaw dropping, because it again has that level of detail that Tokyo Sampo has. So it's really like this wonderful, slightly fantasy guide to the museum, right? And so it's just beautiful. What I also like about your books is that they're not necessarily books you read from page to page. You can stop at any page, right?
You
It's
can
really,
pick.
you're really looking at it. It's not like a novel that you read. Like, well, hold on,
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
You are free to start and to stop when you want, and you will never be lost.
You mentioned that you also say no to things, right? That you have the freedom now to say no to certain things.
Yeah.
What would that be? What are things that you said no to in the past? You don't need to mention any names, but are there certain which projects, like if I knock on your door and people would approach you with, would you not do any longer?
Project of book about Japan, which is with a writer, and I have to make the drawing. Or some publisher contact me to make a book about Japan, one angle, one direction, one perspective. I didn't need that. If I want to make a book about Japan, I will start by myself. I don't say that it's easy for me to make another book about Japan, because it needs time, it needs to be there, so it needs money, so it needs some risk for me if I can't make this book, something like that. But it's not so hard. So all the Japan project I prefer to make by my own with my publisher. I can talk with him, or if I need with someone I choose.
Yeah.
That's the first project I say no. And in generally, I'm quite afraid about project that need to engage me for a long time, because I'm not sure about myself, about my motivation to go in I don't know 2-year project that I'm not the beginner. This kind of project I'm very careful.
And it also needs to be, as you say, you also need to pay your bills, right? So people can't just come with, take all the risk, and then the sales will come to you or something like that. Doesn't pay your bills today, right? So it needs to be something that is, thought through enough, and that has funding, is backed in a certain way, so you can really put your teeth into it. I would imagine, because if I were to ask you to come somewhere for a few months, then you need to obviously live and eat and drink and be able to go around and still make a bit of money. So people can't just
I don't know how it works in English country, I mean USA or in United Kingdom, but the system to be paid by your books, your copyright, writer right. In France, they give your money only at the end of the year. So during all the year, you don't earn money, except if you make something else. Like sometimes, for example, I draw for newspaper. Of course, newspaper pay directly, very quickly, because it's just one drawing. No problem. But for books, you earn your money only at the end of the year, between November and December. So if the books works a lot, you big money in one time.
You can make a living off books. I mean, I think if it's the market.
So
I can imagine it's a bit of money, but it's not like, it's you need to have other gigs going because it's not. I'm trying to kind of, I had trouble introducing you because there's on one hand you creating books and creating these comics which make you a cartoonist. And then there's on the other hand also what you did recently is you work with the Belgian French gallery, whereby you have actual artwork that's being sold, making you kind of a painter or someone more kind of slightly more serious stuff, frame stuff that people can buy and hang on their walls, right? And another thing that you've recently did is you were in Taiwan, invited there by the French desk as a guest artist, and you have again received another invitation, for, I guess, the more serious work, right? So where would you, how would you like to evolve?
Evolve?
Evolve, how would you like to grow? Kind of, is there, would you kind of, if I were to say, okay, you're going to make paintings now for the rest of your career, would you be happy with that? Or would you be tempted to say, no, I'm going to stop paintings, I'm only going to do books?
Like I say before, for the books, I like to make two kind of books. I could say that for every project. I like to make 1 year work for Galerie Lafayette. You say before. It took me 1 year complete to make this trine. Window shop. Yes. It was very interesting for me, very good, okay. And the year after, so last year, 2023, I spent all the year to make drawing to sell them in a gallery, art gallery. So very different. I like to change. And the next step, I would like to make another book because there is a long time I did not publish a book. The last one is were published in 2020. During the COVID crisis. So now I need to make another book. So
why do you feel you need to?
Because I really want in my earth. And also because I am quite afraid that the public, the readers, forget me. Because you have to publish regularly.
You need to keep up.
Not necessary every year, of course. I can't do that, but sometimes. Maybe every 3 years it could be good for me to publish 3 or 4 years. Every 3 or 4 years to publish another book.
And do you do you work on 2 projects simultaneously?
In the same time, you mean? I'm not good at that. I should, but I think sometimes I make that for the small project. I can make 2 or 3 small projects. When I say small project, I mean newspaper drawing during finished windows for Galerie Lafayette, during don't know, something else. This I can do it, but not so much and not too big things. But I could try. Honestly, actually, I write a lot of story, fictional story, not about Japan, that I write in small books, like a notebook, and I work on different story. 3, really 2 big story. I work on it. It's very, very far to be finished and published, of course. But I work. Lot of time, every time, not quite every day. I write some little things.
You told me once that you, like, one of the things you'd rather not do is to be the illustrator of someone else who writes something. You'd rather be the whole...
It depends. I made it before one child book a long time ago, where I was only illustrator. Another two books for kids. It was a collection about French history, Histoire de France, history of France, with many authors and many illustrators with several books. I made two books in this collection, which I really liked because it was funny to make. I make this one about Middle Age and this one about Napoleon. And it was funny to drawing like the Middle Age period. I was inspired by I get inspiration from the Middle Age aesthetics, which is very specific and unique kind of aesthetics in the Middle Age. Sorry, my English is very bad.
It's very good.
And so it's very inspiring for illustrator, I think. And Napoleon also, it was funny to make a little soldier, a lot of blue, white, red, because it was a very national period for France, Europe. And that's example of books I made with author. And so for these two books, there is historian
that you worked with.
Yeah. So it's also interesting to speak with someone who know very well the subject.
Yeah. So something like that you do again, but not necessarily too many of those.
Actually, no.
I think it's...
Maybe I could change my mind.
It's to your credit, but you also have your creative ideas of your own, right?
I start by my own book that I made alone. Even I didn't know I make a book. It was my personal project. So I stay at this tape in my mind. My job is to make my book. Like a very individual thinking, I think, but I'm like that.
What is the biggest misconception about your work? Because what I see success after success. Great book after great book. But what's the biggest misconception when you speak to people? What might they assume that is not?
What they think?
About your job, about your work.
I don't know. Sometimes, but for me, it's not a problem. People ask me if it's my real job, of course, if I earn my money. But I have no problem with that. And maybe in 10 years later, from now, I should keep a little job like all time in Paris. I don't know. That's first thing. After, some people say me, it looks like manga or Japanese comics. I don't think. No. It's not my inspiration. No. It's not because I talk about Japan. I make a lot of books about Japan. That manga inspire me. I have no problem with manga.
No, but your book is not manga.
It's very strange, but that's all. Some people also, it's normal, think I'm a big traveler. I traveling around the world. It's like a backpacker every time. And it's totally wrong. I make a lot of travel. I think many travel, but many of them are in the same place, Japan. I travel there maybe around 20 times. So it's big, of course. Okay, but my mind is not. We can say I'm a big traveler. I never been in South America, in Africa. I went one time, but that's all. I like traveling. To travel,
but it's not. You're not on the road 24/7.
No. Yeah. And of course, if I want to make a book about travel, I need to have time. I need to choose my schedule. So I need to be alone. So it's a specific condition.
One of the things that surprised me is that you're kind of doing a lot by yourself in terms of not only the work, obviously you do, but more also making the decisions on which projects to work on. I thought that they're, either from the publisher or the gallery or kind of, that people think along with you. If you want a second opinion on something, whether you should do something, I can imagine that sometimes you do not know the answer, whether you should or you should not, right? And so there's no such thing maybe as someone who represents you on a certain level or makes a call for or with you. That was one of the things that I was surprised by. So, if, for instance, if you have McDonald's, Galerie Lafayette, and the French Post coming at you at the same time, right?
Yeah.
And so you can't say no to any of them.
Yeah.
So you obviously need to prioritize, but you need almost someone who helps you to kind of make the relationship work.
Yeah.
Or, or similarly so, if you have a book out or work out and you would like to get media attention for it.
Yeah.
Or like a publicist. So there's so many parts to your job that are effectively not your core, your core business. You make the art, but then from there on, it needs to be launched correctly.
And I'm not good at that.
But I was surprised. Well, you are, because obviously you had success, but because your work is that good. But my surprise was there are obviously people who care for you and think along with you, but it's not kind of automatic that someone does. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
And I thought there would be. I thought there would be an agent of sorts, like you have for maybe actors or other type of artists.
But it exists. It's quite common in my job, in my sector. Many illustrator or artists have an agent or belong is not the good word, but belong to agency.
Yeah.
Which represent them.
Yeah.
And keep some project from I don't know, company who need illustration for an advertising or something like that.
Yeah.
There is this kind of agency where there is a lot of illustrator who make also comics or something like that. So it exists. It's quite common. It depends.
Yeah.
But me, yes, I don't know what to say, but I'm not there. I don't have, because maybe it's quite pretentious. I don't know. For the moment, I didn't need that. Sometimes in my life, maybe I should have one to say.
To be continued, but it's good. I mean, I'm happy to hear that it exists.
Yeah.
Because I thought, it doesn't exist. So poor you. Like this is a lot of work. If it all comes at you at once, it's a lot of. It might be difficult. Alternatively, you could be, if you say you work for the better part of a year on a book, what if the book flops?
Yeah.
Right? So then that's your year gone, right? So that's kind of, so you need to spread risk almost, right? So, but that's me thinking along with you. Sorry, I didn't mean to make any assumptions on your behalf. It's just something
it's
that
okay, it's okay. But I think of this many times.
Yeah.
I'm not stressful, but I think sometimes what I will be in 10 years later. Could I be still the drawer? Still?
Would you like to be one? Would you still like to be one?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Until my death.
Okay.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can do. So if I don't become blind or something like that, or my right hand could work, it's okay for me. Yeah.
What are you most proud of?
I'm very proud of my book. I can do alone. And I'm proud to. I don't know so much Japan, but I have some friends there. I have some place which are my place, my personal place, and I am proud to build this kind of Japan, which doesn't look like another Japan of other people, of course. I think every people could have his Japan. You know what I mean? His perception of Japan, his story about Japan. And me, I like my little story of Japan and me. That's a thing I'm very proud because.
So you're proud that you could create that and that you could make other people understand what it looks like.
Yeah. And and I'm proud of my shoes in Japan. I don't talk so much about famous things. I always sketch, draw ordinary things. This way, I'm quite proud. Proud is a big word, but I'm happy to have made this choice. But it's a choice because I'm a specialist of nothing.
Yeah.
The deep culture of Japan, I'm not a specialist, so I can talk only of the ordinary things, daily life things.
Yeah, but you don't pretend to be.
Yeah. I'm okay with that.
As an outsider. And then I think for the people who are listening in, Tokyo Sanpo was your first book about Japan, but not your last one, because you created one is Manabeshima, which is about this island in Japan.
Yeah.
And I believe you're an honorary citizen there now. They were very happy with you after publishing that book.
Yeah.
So very quickly, tell me about that, because you were telling me earlier you were looking for the most normal island in Japan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I wanted to make, because my first book was only about Tokyo, only about the urban Japan, and also Tokyo is very, very famous. So for my second book, I asked to my publisher, but at the beginning he was quite afraid, not especially agree with this project, but finally he accepted. So for this second book, I wanted to make the exact opposite, but still in Japan.
Yeah.
And the exact opposite of Tokyo is the countryside of Japan, of course. And for me is also a small place. And what is more a small place than a small island? Nothing. So I choose to go to in a small island. At that time, I did not know which island I will go. So I check on Google Map. I focus my search on specific area in Japan called Seto Naikai in Nancy. It's a part of Pacific Ocean between main island in Japan. I focus there because there is many islands. Several size, several number of inhabitants, and finally I choose this island called Manabeshima, which is the title of the book. And it was a very good choice. So I'm very proud of this, for example.
Of this choice.
This was choice, because at the beginning it was far from the successful because I didn't know nothing about that. I can't speak Japanese or just a little. My publisher gave me only 2,000 euro to make this project. And go do this book. It includes airplane, of course, everything. But I give part of my money, of course. But it's a happy end.
Yeah.
Because the island was very exceptional because of the ordinary, the common, in the common way. And people, of course, was very kind.
Yeah.
And everything went very well at this time. And I tried to sketch, to draw everything. People, houses, animals, job, food, everything like a reportage.
You told me about that you arrive on that island and you don't have any money, so you need to kind of beg yourself into this little hotel that is closed officially for the season. But if you could still have a small room, and then
it was perfect.
It's almost a documentary in and of itself, right? You almost see, like, I see it happening, and then But amazing. And again, here is so much detail, right? So much detail that you give. And you're right. The opposite of the detail of a big city, it's the detail of an island, right? So
but there is many
you
detailing.
do loads of fishes and you know, or, like all these things, like you know, animals, food types, people, very compelling. And so the people in Manabeshima were ecstatic.
Yeah. First time there is a book about their island. I was not the first stranger, of course, to came there, but very, very few of stranger came there.
Yeah.
But they are very proud. When the book was published, my publisher sent a lot of them to the people in the island.
Yeah.
When I go back, because I go back many times after, but the first time I go back, they organize a small event of me, like a fiesta for Florent. He's go back. He's coming back. So it was very warming, very intense for me, and I'm really proud of that. Before, when I say my Japan, my little place, I wanted to mean that this place, for example, actually it's still the place in Japan where I know the most of people.
And not even you, also your mother loves going, right? So,
my mother went, Yes, she went maybe 3 times there, or 2 times.
Nice. And at the same time, you don't want to be only about Japan, right? So even though it has a warm place in your heart, you also want to do more. So you've been in Taiwan, and I know you've got other people, other countries who have invited you in the past, whether this was successful, yes or no, but more people would like for you to take a look at their country and to do something, which is quite an honor, because you've done such a good job with Japan.
I need a story to start, maybe. I like that. I like to explain for me, to justify for me why I'm here. Just to sail this city, to say, this city is the best city of the world. No, I want to think I'm here because it's my life bring me there. I can explain why. I follow my girlfriend. I don't know. I follow something. And then we can start the story. I can start to explain. So I'm here. Let's start. What we eat here, how are people, many things. The fruits, how is the fruits? Everything.
Everything. You want to know everything. You
do you have insect, bug?
You want to feel and experience everything before you start. So really give all.
I like to make kind of compilation of things. You know, like there is this book called Épuisement d'un lieu. Tentative d'épuisement d'un lieu. It's in French. It's what I would like to do, but it's impossible. It's to tell, to draw everything of one place. Of course, to make it quite possible, it's impossible. This place need to be small, because I can't talk about all Tokyo, for example. But even it's small, like an island, like Manabeshima, where there is only 300 people, now only 100. It's too big to tell everything. For me, there is a subject in everything. For example, I really like wildlife, animals' life. I can make a book about the war between the crabs and the bee. It doesn't exist, but the crabs and the octopus, because I saw some strange things. Or, for example, in Manabeshima, I make a map, a war map, between the cat tribes. There is many cats, like in many islands in Japan. In Manabeshima, there is a lot of cats, and if you just take time to observe them, observe the family, you can detect tribe, and there is some war territory, something like that.
Yeah.
For me, it's very interesting. I can make a lot of page of that.
Yeah.
But I could make page about the fishing, something like that. Everything.
Yeah. You're just too empathic. You find the story in everything.
Yeah.
But that makes it also very tiresome, I can imagine.
Yeah.
So you kind of need to draw the line. So again, you need to stop.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I mean, we could talk for hours, which is great, but we need to also give the listeners a break. So before I ask my 3 very last questions, what's next for you? So talk to me about 2024 and 2025. You have several projects. You have some trips coming up. What gets you most excited in the near future?
All of them, because they are very different. So it makes good things. I have to go back to Taiwan in September. I'm invited by the French desk, like consulate, in artistic residence. I will draw like I did in March and last March and last February. I will draw every day, little drawing with haiku, Japanese poems. But I don't know exactly what for. Books, it's not enough to make a books. I don't know, or little books. I don't know. I have to talk with my publisher of that.
Yeah.
That's one thing. I would like to finish what I said before about my fictional story.
Yeah.
I would like to finish writing and then start to draw.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to draw before
You've got it ready.
Yeah. Because if I have to change or something.
Yeah.
So this, I would like to finish this story, 2 stories, for the next year. This could be good, or this end of the year. After that, small personal project. I don't really, I don't think about what for, but I like to make some. I like to realize some little idea I have in my mind, which looks like sometimes like a joke. For example, like I say you to before. Actually, it's a more fresh project.
Yeah.
It's quite finished. I make a big map of France, a geographical map, very realistic. Only to make fake to put on this map fake dishes, fake food, like joke of the specialty of France, but everything is fake.
Yeah.
I don't know what for. For me, it makes me laughing.
Yeah.
And it's like a distraction for me, like appeasement. Yeah. It's not
relaxes you almost. I was thinking about those things.
Yeah, I can think.
But you're taking on the French and their food, which is very. I mean, it's because you are French, you might get away with it, but someone from outside would never get away with such a book. You do realize that, right?
Yeah.
How important the food culture is in your country.
Yeah. Of course, yes. Yeah, because I'm French. I'm French. I don't realize every time.
You can get away with it. You can say, "Well, I'm French." What are you talking about?
Yeah. But maybe I don't know for the other country, but in France we have many local specialties. Yeah. Sometimes it's quite strange. Not all French people know that. Yeah. And I want to play with that and invent. Yeah. And create some fake specialty, which French people can't say it's real or not. Did I ever taste that? Maybe yes, but it's fake. Yeah. That's my little project actually. I don't know what to do with that. Maybe like a poster, something like that to send.
Who knows?
To sell. Yeah. Or who knows?
Yeah. Sounds wonderful, and at the same time, you're also still working with the gallery, right? Making other work. So you've got loads on, and I'm happy to hear that because that's important to keep on going, to keep on working. So and then my three last questions. Could you finish the following sentence for me? As a child, I wanted to become a
drawer,
okay.
something like that.
Well, mission accomplished, I would say, right? So,
I know some.
My daughter.
Your daughter.
She's 5 years old. She loves her Uncle Florent making drawings with her.
Yeah,
so
I hope she will continue. Drawing. I say usually. Sometimes it's quite like sports or maybe music.
Yeah.
At the same side. You have to do it every time.
A lot,
Never surrender.
Yeah.
Even if it's sometimes boring, or even if sometimes you think you draw worse than before. You have to continue continue. Like sports, music, you have to make your game, and then you will increase. You will find your style. You will select what you want to do, something like that.
Nice. Well, mission accomplished. It's so like you're of one piece, as they say. Like you said, you could only do one thing. You went for it, and here you are. So that's amazing. Yeah, wonderful. Then let's turn the tables. This is now the Florent Chavouet podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Who would be your dream guest?
You mean also dead people, or no?
You can also have dead people. Could be a séance.
He's American drawer. You know, Winsor McKay is very famous for comics author. Is a very famous comics drawer. At the beginning of the comics story, he published Little Nemo.
Okay.
And the Herald Tribune at the beginning of the 20th century.
Okay.
Of course, he's died long time ago, but he created many forms of comics. With him, start maybe the modern comics, and I would like to meet him. So we have to talk with my specific English. It could be funny, and I would like to ask him how he get that idea to put a case like that. How he found all this idea. Yeah.
You would like to quiz him on his creativity.
Yeah. That's strange because sometimes few times I meet in France in a book fair some artists that I really like, and sometimes I eat with them at the book fair. And I don't know how to say to people I admire because everything is done. But
is the magic gone then?
Yeah.
You don't admire them?
No, that's that. I mean, I don't know what to say to ask to this kind of people. But I answer you that I would like to meet.
You would just like to be in their presence, right? It might be a boring podcast interview, but you would still like to talk to them.
Yeah. So well done.
Well done.
Yes.
Love your work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This was the interview. Yeah.
No, I really like it. Yeah, I understand it.
And then the last question. It's about reading. What, if any, book would you recommend to people listening and who would like to kind of start a career path like yours? Like, is there any kind of book that helped you on your that inspired you that you would recommend to others?
I have an idea, but it's quite strange. I remember just before this podcast, when I was kid, in France there is like magazine which is published 1 or 2 times per year. And this magazine called La Hulotte. It's the name of a bird, like a owl. And this magazine is made by one people until today, but now we have some help because this guy is quite old. I don't know, maybe around 70 years old. And it was a teacher in a small school in the east of France, and he was quite disappointed by the fact that small kids didn't know so much animals and nature environment.
Oh, yeah.
So he started to make a little magazine, and it started at I don't remember exactly, around 1972 until now. Now he's quite famous, like a notorious magazine now. I'm still subscriber to this small magazine. The drawing are very, very with many details.
Yeah.
Only black and white, but very detailed, very perfect, with a little humor, like a small joke for kids, but also funny for adults. I remember some new editions of this magazine, which inspired me a lot when I was kid. Yeah. Because, for example, I remember we found a dead bird on the ground, like a crow, something like that. And it was told that, like a airplane crash. What happens to this crash of airplane? For me, it was very funny. Sorry, I don't know if I explained very much, very good, very well.
Crashed into the bird.
Yeah. It was this dead bird who was explained with the point of view of a bug.
Oh yeah.
Who tried to find why this plane crashed there. Let's.
Now I get it. Yeah. So it's the bug. Yeah. It's from a bug's perspective.
Yeah.
So it's a huge thing that.
Yeah. So how many days? One day. Yeah. They collect some piece of the bird. Something like that. Something like And this kind of little story for kids, it's print in my mind. I would like to. It tells you the point of view of to change point of view. Yeah. And it tells you it can turn the real life like another things.
Yeah. So wonderful. So I mean, should you not interview the guy who started all of this? He would also be a good one to interview.
Yeah. I heard him. I listened him sometime in radio. He was invited in French radios a few times. We have. You can find maybe on YouTube something like that, but in French. It's very interesting. And he explained how he starts. Yeah. And he's not famous, but many artists from my generation know him, know his works.
Yeah, and respect him, and because they have been inspired by you. Obviously, have been.
I don't know for the other people, but I think it's not comics, it's not newspaper, common newspaper. It's magazine made in one house by one people. And very, very good.
Very good. Yeah. Florent Chavouet, thank you so much for your time. I wish you all the best in your doings. Undoubtedly, we're going to hear loads and loads more about you. You're just at the very beginning of something that's going to be big and beautiful, and you're going to find happiness and job success, undoubtedly. Come back anytime to Messy and Masterful. Thank you so much for your time, Florent Chavouet.
Thank you for listening my perfect English. Thank you.
If you liked this episode, then it would mean the absolute world if you could share it with your friends and or give it a short review on your preferred podcast platform. The more you share your ideas about these interviews, the more people will find out about them. So do let us know what you think. We'd be very, very grateful.
Special thanks to Philip Anderson for our beautiful theme music. This episode was edited by Natalie Piles with production assistance from Genta Metalia.